Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're going to have an event, no matter what it is, whether it's a wedding, anniversary party, a birthday party, sweet 16, a corporate event, doesn't matter. There's a few essential things that need to be included. Of course, the logistics, of course, the food. People talk about it, the beverages. We've talked about all of those in the times that we've gotten together with her. The one thing we haven't gotten to, and we're going to dive into it today, is the event or party decor. What's it going to look like? How are you going to immerse all of your guests into a certain feeling, and what's available? She is the woman behind Bring the Party Event Services. Eugenia Clark is back with us here on the program. How you doing today?
I'm great, Steve. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm feeling pretty good. So today we're talking about decor, and as you can see behind me, it looks and feels totally different than our previous previous meetings. And that's kind of the idea, where the decor is really what decides how your guests feel in your event. They're not, I mean, some of them may say, oh, those centerpieces were just beautiful, everything was fantastic. But moreover, they're going to enjoy the party because it's in a beautiful space. And there's all different ranges of what you want your decor to be, how you want the food to kind of play off of that, how you want the beverages to kind of play into that. And it's really what brings that event all together and really just makes your event shine and stand out beyond anything else, is the decor.
I never thought of it because I take it for granted when I go to an event. But the food is important, the beverages are important, the logistics, what's happening during the event, that's all important. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have the right decor, you're missing out. Like, even where are you going to serve that food? What's it going to look like? So essential. And I know that you have, photos to give us some examples today too, right?
I do have some things staged, but I really wanted to, for us, when we're planning the decor, it's all about what that person wants. What is it that you envision for your party to be? And when you have that decor conversation, it's not just about, well, these are the colors I want to incorporate. This is the overall feel. I want it to be, super glamorous or a little bit more muted. Moreover, it kind of has to work with the logistics and the flow of your event. Because we specialize in bringing the event to you, bringing the party to you. That means that people are having parties at their home. They're having it in their backyard. They're having it, sometimes forest preserves or alternate spaces. Even a corporate office is not set up for an event. It's set up to operate as a corporate workspace. So when we come in, we evaluate, what do you want? What do you want to project? How do you want your guests to feel? And then we say, okay, we're going to incorporate all those things into it. We're going to set it up in a way that's going to give your guests the best flow through your event. We'll give you an idea of where to put the food. We'll tell you the best place to put the bar. Sometimes we have to take a few things away with the decor to make sure that event space flows properly. Sometimes we'll say, hey, this is really the look and feel you want to go with. We want to add a few things over here and add a few things over there so that it really brings that ambiance into the space. So it's really more of that one-on-one and customizing the whole event around what you want at the end.
How do you make the decision of what decor to include for an event? Now, obviously, if it's a wedding, somebody may say, I want a certain color flowers, a certain color in general, but how do you decide that?
Those decisions are really guided by the client. So if the client says, I want blue flowers, And we say, well, do you have a preference on the blue flowers? No. Okay, here's the 5 blue flowers that are the best price point for your time frame, because flowers are very seasonal. So we can get any flower any time of year, just depends on the cost, right? If
Mm.
we have to import them from a different part of the world because they're in season there versus, on the same continent, makes a big difference on the impact. So we try to really guide them through making that choice. We don't make it for them unless they tell us to.
Gotcha. Okay, so they start with the as sort of the baseline of what they want it to look like, and then you kind of fill in the pieces along the way.
I think this is a great time to show you a picture
Okay.
because there's a story behind every picture.
That's a cliche as well. Every picture tells a story.
So, just to kind of, with this picture, this bride and groom wanted this lighting system. We installed the lighting system, and she wanted something very specific for her tabletop decor. But you can't tell by this image, but this is actually outside on a terrace. So this
Oh,
is a
wow.
middle of downtown, outside on a terrace. It took me and about 8 people to install this lighting system. And we did it in like 3 hours before their wedding. And you can't tell by this picture, but there's 100 people at this wedding as well. So she wanted
Wow.
something very specific for her tabletop decor, but she didn't want it to take away from her lighting system. She really wanted her lighting system to be the grand caveat of and set the stage for her wedding. And so we guided her through making choices. She wanted flowers set directly on the table. Outside in August in Chicago, your flowers need to be hydrated every moment of every day. So we came up with these mini vases, and there's 3 flowers set in each one, and we used 200 flowers to set her centerpieces, and it gave her the look that she was going for while still preserving everything. Um, and it's all a story. It doesn't start with this is going to be your final look. It's an evolution of, well, this is what you want. This is the best way for us to execute that and still maintain your look.
The first thing you see is the lighting. It's
Oh yeah,
amazing.
it
Yeah.
was gorgeous. Yeah.
Wow. And I'm trying to determine this from the photo. Are those lights white or do they have a tint of yellow to them?
They have a tint of yellow to them, and I don't
Okay.
think you can see from the angle. So bear with me for just a moment. Can you see the lights now?
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's the same lights.
Wow. And it's interesting. You have them with fabric. I'm seeing here. Is that correct? There's fabric
Yes.
underneath them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that is just as beautiful and gives it a different kind of, a softer look.
It's a different ambiance altogether. And I could actually dim the lights overhead, but then you really can't see my face at all. So and the camera's not picking up that lighting structure very well. Not that you need to see my face, I guess. But here, let's give another picture here. Um, and I wonder if I can share multiple pictures at once. Let's see. Well, let me. Yeah, it will. Okay. So this one, again, it started out really simple. And what this bride wanted was like an overhang. She wanted like a ball of flowers hanging from the ceiling
Huh.
over each table. That was her vision. And I said, well, we can't really install anything off the ceiling at your venue. So let's go with a clear vase. You hardly see the vase. Um,
No.
and so that was the best way to give her vision. And
Wow.
sometimes it's a compromise. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes we can give you exactly what you want. Other times we have to compromise it. So
I would have not. And how unique. I don't even see the vase. But what a different look to have the flowers up that high.
not really, but it does everyone has their own what they want.
Sure.
And it's our job to give it to them the best to the best of our not just to the best of our ability, but to the best of what they want. I'm going to share you one more, and then it'll give you kind of a little bit better of an understanding here. So I just kind of was looking at that. But it's not coming up in the share screen. Let's see. Can I go up, down? Here it is. So this one has a little audio to it. I don't know if the audio is going to come up or not. But this is a wedding that we did, and the bride wanted what she described it as a sloppy bow. She didn't want it to be a pristine bow. She wanted a sloppy bow tied onto every single one of her ceremony chairs. We provided the arbor, we provided all the florals, we did all of her table decor as well, but that's what she wanted. And I personally would have loved to be able to showcase to you a perfect bow tied onto 100 chairs so that you can see how perfect and pristine it is. That's not what this bride wanted. So for us, it's not about us. It's about what do you want?
Interesting. Wow. I love the enthusiasm that you have when somebody asks for something. It's like, we're going to get that done. We're going to find a way to get that done.
Exactly. And sometimes it's a compromise, because if what they want, their space doesn't accommodate what they want, like,
Sure.
we can't hang something off the ceiling at your venue. They won't let us do it. So how do we come up with something that's going to get you close to that? With some venues, they won't allow the light fixtures to be put in there, the lighting setups to be put in there. So we have to come up with other ways to kind of accommodate that. And usually what we end up doing is putting a frame up, and then we put the lights on the frame. So whatever it is, whatever you want, at the end of the day, you get really close to it.
Do you recall somebody, when it comes to decor, asking for something and it being one of your bigger challenges?
Oh, yes. Sometimes it's all about scale too. If that makes sense. As far as like a bigger challenge, putting lights over an entire terrace in downtown Chicago on the 10th floor, that was challenging. That was challenging. But if it's sometimes it's just about the scale. Is it something that we can or can't do? The one that was most challenging took us 5 days to do it. And they converted an entire indoor soccer field to their wedding venue with over 400 guests. And
Wow.
the custom lighting system took us 4 days to install. And we had to subcontract electricians to have on site throughout the entire time. It had to be a certified electrician to make sure that all of our power draws were to code and safe. And they actually ended up upgrading what is that? The fuse box. They ended up upgrading one of the fuse boxes actually to accommodate the lighting system.
Oh, you mean the panel, the circuit breaker
Yeah.
panel? Wow.
Yeah, the actual panel.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the stuff that other people don't realize. Yeah, I want those lights. Can you give me those lights, Gina? Come on. They have no idea what's involved in the back end of that. Short of installing the lights, making sure that it's to code. Yeah, there's a lot of responsibility on the back end.
Yeah, it really is. And in this particular case, I don't know that the bride and groom really saved much money by converting um, this huge, I mean, this was an indoor soccer complex. I mean, it was huge. I don't know if they really saved any money, but their parents owned the venue. The parents really wanted it there. It had something, it was a very special place to them. So converting it and turning it in, I mean, we installed 4 bars. It's because the place was so large and there was so many guests. I mean, it was an amazing project, but it took a lot of planning. It was probably the biggest undertaking that we had ever done. So it was challenging to make sure that we were getting exactly the look that she wanted. So, we're on site for 4 days, almost every day. I'm saying, hey, come check this out, look at it, make sure that is this what you wanted? Because custom lighting system like that, there's no pictures on the internet. There's no picture that they could provide us. We're going off of what she says.
Wow. That's the other part of it. But then sometimes somebody can show a picture and it's not realistic in terms of achieving that. That picture may be from, a duplex somewhere in New York City. Now we're in a different area and that doesn't translate. Sometimes I guess the picture can be good. Sometimes it can be bad.
What one oh, I'm gonna now share another one. This was something that is very popular these days. And it is submerged flowers that are highlighted with colored lights.
Cool.
And this is very popular. Her inspirational photo that she gave us was of fake flowers, but she wanted real flowers. So, I called up my florist and I said, which ones? She said, the only ones you really want to use is the orchids. We walked through the whole thing. It may be a challenge, but we always get the look.
It's simple, but it does make a nice statement with the flowers, the color, and everything.
Oh yeah. And this is what it looked like without. So you can kind of see. Oh, not that one. Sorry. Apologies. Let's see. Screen share here. And it's this one. So this is what it looks like not lit. It's this,
Okay.
it's literally the same table. And I'll zoom in here a little bit so you can see it.
Sure.
It doesn't have that same, ooh.
No, it's almost as if those flowers get lost on the table.
Exactly. But once you turn on those lights, it just gives it a whole nother look. And it's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. But this would be more of a standard look. And what we did was, added the colored lights, and her colors were blue and gold. So we made sure that the lights were blue, and it just turned out fabulously. It was amazing.
And just to confirm, this was a wedding?
No, this was a 50th wedding anniversary.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice.
But for weddings, we do something very specific. And with the weddings, we pretty much plan the whole thing. We work with the bride and grooms, we work with the other vendors, and we really go through and plan every aspect of the day. And to kind of highlight that better, I do want to share another screen with you. Yeah. And this one, so this is what the bride and groom would see. These are her flowers. This is kind of like her setup for her from her shower, actually. We took that picture from her shower, and we put together their wedding plan. And this is what the wedding party receives. This is the bride's itinerary. Everything is timed on there. It's beautiful images. So if she needs to look at it or someone from the wedding party looks at it, they're seeing beautiful images and just the information that they need. The
Okay.
bridal party itinerary.
Lots of questions here. Is that made available for everybody attending the wedding or just the
No,
wedding party?
just the wedding party. So
Wow.
then this is like the groom's itinerary, the groom's party itinerary, um,
Wow.
what they need to do when they get to the specific venue that they're at. And then there's other things in there too that are like for this instance, there was a couple of the wedding party that were not traveling with everyone else on the party bus from the church to the picture site. So
Amazing.
I put in there 3 or 4 different routes that they could take to make sure that they got there on time.
I love it. I think that now you're speaking my language where like the detail of what's expected from somebody so they don't have to be thinking or worrying about it. That
Right.
is, man, that is timed to the minute. Fantastic. I didn't even know that that's done on the back end of a wedding. Is that kind of standard or is that how you guys roll?
That's pretty standard and it's how we roll. I don't know. I've never really hired another wedding planner. I can just tell you that my customers love what we do.
Oh, it's great.
And this last one is pretty important because the bride and groom are not paying attention to their clock. If they're paying attention to their clock, I failed at my job somehow. I don't care how anal you are on your wedding day, you are not looking at a watch. But they're maid of honor and their bridesmaids and their best man often get anxiety and start looking at those things. So this is there for them. So they know, hey, if we get off track somewhere, Eugenia already has a timeline mending recommendations. She'll already put things in. She's already put the thought in. Even if we don't go with any of those recommendations, even if we don't ever need it, it gives them a source of comfort to see it. So
Love
this
that.
is what the bride and groom see. But for some reason, oops. Get back to that one there.
And we're just about out of time.
Yeah. So this is the last one.
This is great.
This is what my team works off of, and this is the same wedding. So they don't see all of the business that goes into planning and executing their wedding. They only see the pretty stuff.
Honestly, this is fantastic. And you've opened eyes here. It's almost as if we peel back the curtains of the production and got to see exactly how this all goes together. Quick side note, I noticed there that their wedding was involving the Lyric Opera House in Chicago.
Yes.
I actually met the man that used to run that for decades recently. Like it's funny how I saw that down there. I'm like, where do I know that name?
Wow.
So you're, obviously Illinois, you service is it the greater Chicagoland area?
Absolutely. So we service the greater Chicagoland area, which encompasses parts of Indiana all the way up to parts of Wisconsin as well.
Wonderful. Thank you for today. Thank you for just learning how the whole process works and what's available. And also, within your business, Eugenia, you getting it done. Like you're making sure that, somebody's asking for something. We're going to find a way to get it done regardless of what happens. What's the best way to find you?
The best way to find us is check us out online at Bring the Party. E is an event, S is in services.com. That's bringthepartyes.com. Our phone number is 847-282-0095. And of course, you can always use any of our pages. The contact us is on each one of the pages online.
Excellent. It's been great having you on here over the last couple of weeks, just learning everything that you guys offer and how you do it. I learned a lot. Much appreciation for what you do, and totally appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you a bit. And I'm sure our paths will cross again.
Absolutely. Well, look what they just did with the Lyric Opera House. What are the chances of that? It is truly a small world. All right, we're coming right back. Hang on.
All right, thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.